Hello all, hope all are well and safe. Today we are going to start coding on Python using an IntelliJ IDEA, which I have already uploaded a video on how to download and install IntelliJ IDEA on Windows 10 operating system. So for what are you guys waiting for then? Please go ahead and check it out. And with no further delay, let's start our today's video. So today we are here to learn what is a variable in Python, assigning values to a variable, rules of defining a variable, moreover, object referencing, deleting a variable in Python, and exercise on all those topics which we have learned today. So let's start.
As in every programming language, Python also has a similar meaning to a variable. Indeed, a Python variable is a memory location to store some values. Moreover, a Python variable is used to store data. They take the memory space based on the type of the value we are assigning to them. You'll understand it clearly when we go through an example on it. So let's go through an example using an IntelliJ IDEA.
So at first we need to open IntelliJ IDE. After you open the software, you'll land up here. Then click on New Project. After that, you need to make sure that you're selecting Python and the proper SDK that is being recommended by your IDE. And then click on Next. Please give your project name here. In my case, I'm giving Python Programming. And then click on Finish. Subsequently, you will be landing on this window. So after that, you need to right click on your project. I think something is running in background. It's updating some indexes. You can see there, indexing Python SDK. So nothing to worry. Minimize it and work on your project. So right click on the project name, Python Programming in my case. Select New. Under New, select Python file. So you need to give your file name here. In my case, I'm giving variables. So it automatically takes .py extension. So this is the use of IntelliJ, as it is undoubtedly the top choice IDE for software developers, as it is user friendly. So let's start code. Creating a variable in Python is just that simple. You need to just give the variable name on the left hand side of the equal to symbol, and right hand of the equal to symbol you just need to specify the value, as I'm doing here, x equal to 5 and y equal to 7, and then printing both the values using print function. Let's try running it. As a variable, file name is variables. Run variables, you need to select, and then where it shows the values 5 and 7 is the output. When you hover on the variable name, it is asking us to give some spacing in between the symbol and the variable name. Let's do it. When you hover it again on the variable name, it will help us to know which type of variable it is. There you see x is an integer type variable, as we have assigned 5 to it. Y is also the same. So now I'm trying to change the value of the variable y to Mira from 7. There are two ways to run a Python file. One is to right click on it, and other one is to go ahead and click on the run button on the right top corner. So yeah, there you see the output 5 and Mira. And now when you hover on y, it will just show you that there is a string type variable. You understood how to assign a value to a variable in Python. So now let's go to other topic, that is rules of defining a variable in Python. So in order to define a variable in Python, we need to follow certain rules. The first rule here is a variable should start with a underscore or a letter, and second one, variable should not start with a number, and the other one is the variables are case sensitive in Python. For example, Mira in small m and Mira in capital M and Mira in all capitals are three different variables, so be careful. And 4 and 5 are the variable names cannot be keywords, and the variable name should only contain alphanumeric characters. So let's start by looking it into a practical example. In order to do that, we need to create a new file called rules. Let's go ahead and do that. So now let's try those rules practically. Let me give some variable name called NAME with N capital. In other line, we have already learned that the variable name should start with an alphabet or underscore. So in second line, let's try it out using starting the variable name using an underscore, and in third line we'll give a variable name starting with a digit. Let's try it out. The prediction is it should show an error as it should not start with a digit. And in fourth line, let's give it using a reserved word in Python called print. Print is a predefined function in Python which is a reserved word. So let's give print equal to some other name. And now give the variable name using special characters. As we have already learned in the rules section, rules PPT, that variable name should only have alphanumeric characters, but we are including special characters here, such that the prediction is it should throw an error. Let's see what happens. So in order to run, we need to first right click on the window and select rules.py file, because we can't go ahead and run the run button because it's present in variables section. So we need to first run by clicking on run.rules.py. Then the error here is, it is showing an error that a variable name should not start with a digit. So let's go ahead and change it. I'm just adding underscore in front of it. Now let's run. Here now it is rules. Let's run it. Now the error here is special characters, that is invalid syntax. So let's go ahead and clear all the invalid characters and try it out. Now it got executed, but we have given print equal to something. So let's try printing all those values and see. I think now we have two variable names the same name, name and name. So let's go ahead and rename name equal to Ritu to name 123 equal to Ritu. So a variable can have numeric characters. So now print name of 123. Run the script. There you see an error in line number 6. I think using print we have named something. Let's go ahead and rename that variable name to print123. Now you see that colors also have been changed. All the blue color ones indicate that print is a function, and print of print 123. Now the color have changed to white because all those in white indicate that is a variable. There you see the output. So I think you've understood the rules which are needed to define a variable in Python. Now let's go into object referencing. So even though the definition of the variable seems to be the same, however the treating of the variable in every programming language differ, as in Python. Python is a highly object oriented programming language. So that is why every data item belong to it, to a specific data type. So I'm just creating object referencing as a new Python file here because we are working on object referencing. As I've already mentioned in the variables.py section, if you hover over a variable name, it just shows you which type of variable it is. Either it is a string type or integer type. Because you're using IntelliJ IDEA, it is showing you. Otherwise, if you are using any other IDE, it may not show you. So in that case, you can use type function. Type function in Python just shows you, gives you the type of variable you're using. Here I am just initializing, some name John to the name variable and trying to print it. And when you hover, it is just showing you that it's a string type variable. So in order to know using a function, you can use type function. So I'm just printing it, print of type of the variable name, that is in my case it is name, and try to run that file. It is just showing you the class string. It is a class type string. So that is the use of type function in Python. So we all know Python is a dynamically typed language because Python interpreter assigns variables a type at the runtime based on the value we assign to it. For example, if we assign a numeric type value, it just takes it at the runtime without any declaration part. So that is the advantage in Python, and that's why it is called as dynamically typed language. So now I'm trying to assign 50, that is an integer type object, to number, and number 1 equals to number. So let's try to print it. So it is taking 50 at runtime without using any declaration part. Yeah, there you see the output is 50 and 50. And Python is also strongly typed language because you can assign different type of values for the same variable at different times, as we have already seen in the variable section. Let's see here too, using an example. I'm trying to print ID of number and see the ID of it, and print ID of number 1, because in Python every object has a unique identifier, but here we have the same value in both the variables, so the ID is also the same. So now let's change the value from 50 to 100 and check whether it is having a different identifier value or not, because as I've already told you that in Python every object has a unique identifier. Let's check. I've changed the value of number 1 from 50 to 100 and trying to run the file. Yep, it has changed the value from 6496 to 8096. Last 4 characters, digits have been changed, as you can see in the output console. As I've already mentioned, Python is also a strongly typed language because we can assign different values to the same variable at different times. And now I'm trying to assign number 1 equal to James from 100, and also I'm trying to change its data type, that is from integer to string. So let's try number 1 equal to James, and also try to print its ID, the identifier. It should have a different identifier because I'm changing the value from 100 to James. So let's see what happens. There you see the output. James, and the identifier has also been changed because we have previously 100 as a value in number 1 variable. Now we have changed it to James. So now let's try printing the type of the variable because we have changed from integer to string. Using type function which we have already learned earlier. Print of type of your variable name. Let's try running it. There you see it is a string type variable now. That is why Python is called a strongly typed language, because we can assign different values at different times for the same variable. In our case, we have assigned different values at different times for the variable called number 1. So I think you've understood id as well as type function. Now let's try deleting a variable. Deleting a variable in Python is just that simple. Here I am creating a new file called Deletion. You can also try deletion in same file, but to avoid confusion I am creating a new file called Deletion. If you have any spelling mistake while creating a file, you can also rename it by right clicking on it. As you can see, it had already added .py extension to the created file called deletion_variable because we are using an intelligent IDE. Now I'm trying to assign an integer value to a variable name called value and trying to print that value using print function. And the prediction here is it should print 100. Let's try. Oh, okay, I have given small v. Let's try to give capital V. It is a case sensitive language because value with small v and value with capital V is different, as we have already learned in rules. Now I'm trying to delete that variable name using del keyword. Del keyword is very helpful when we are dealing with large number of Python programming files. Now it gave 100. Now let's try to print that value after deleting that variable name called value, and the prediction is error. There you see name value is not defined as we have already deleted, so there is no variable name called value. Let's delete line number 3 and try again, and the prediction here is it should print 102 times because we are not asking anything to delete. There you see. I think you've understood how to delete a variable in Python. Let's start exercise on lesson 1, what we have learned in this video. So now I'm trying to create a new file called exercise 1. Here we'll try to reiterate everything that what we have learned in this video. So now I'm trying to assign a value called hello, how are you to a variable name called message and try to print it. There you see the output, it is message because I've given it in double quotes. So if you want to print the message inside a variable name, value inside a variable name, you just need to give print of that variable name. There you see the output, and now I'm trying to print the type of that variable using type function which we have already learned in the previous sections in the video. Yep, it is string type variable. And now I'm trying to print the ID. Now I'm trying to change the variable value from hello how are you to today is Tuesday. As Python is a strongly typed language, we have already learned in the previous section, just reiterating everything that we have learned. There you see the output, today is Tuesday. Now I'm trying to print the type of the variable. I think the type remains same because we didn't change the type of the variable. However, we have just changed the value of the variable to today is Tuesday. Now I'm trying to print the ID. I think the ID will change because the value inside a variable got changed. There you see the output, the identifier value got changed. So we have successfully learned how to assign a value to a variable and then rules of defining a variable. Moreover, object referencing, here we have learned ID type functions. Then we have learned how to delete a variable using del keyword. So del of value, let's run it. Oops, I have run exercise 1. So make sure you are running the same file because we have many files here. There you see the output, and then we have also reiterated everything that we have learned in this video. I think you have understood everything in this video regarding variables. So